Hey guys, so I'm going to show you how I went from making $300 a month on Outschool to $1,200 and counting. Ready?
All right, so today I'm going to do my analytics for the month of May 2021. So far, these are my lifetime earnings, meaning that's what I've made so far in my entire journey on Outschool. Now, if you have not seen my previous videos, I actually joined Outschool back in May of 2020, and I ended up not doing anything with it because of the pandemic. I was virtual teaching with my kiddos, and I thought it was going to be something I would take on, and then I decided not to do it. So as you can see here, I did not have my first teaching month until actually it was February 2021. I did teach one class, but because of the way Outschool teaches and does the way that Outschool pays, you can see that I did teach 6 learners and I worked for around half an hour. That was my very first class, but I didn't get paid in the month of February because it was at the end. It actually lumped into March. So technically my start date was February 2021. That's when I did my first class, but I got paid in March. So for March, I only made $392. I taught 69 learners and I only worked for 14 hours. So as you can see, I didn't have a ton of classes open. I was just starting to figure out what Outschool was all about. I was only opening a couple of classes and I was getting a few learners here and there, but I didn't have a ton of things open. And so that's kind of why I wanted to make this video today, to kind of start, going over my exact tips and tricks and strategies and what I've been doing to start really building on my Outschool platform so I can get to a place where it's going to take over my full-time income. And that's what I'm doing. So in March of 2021, with the additional class from February, I made $392. Now, I still work a teaching position, so I am gone out of the house from, 7 a.m. until about 2:30, 3 o'clock. So I can't work those hours on Outschool because I'm somewhere else. So I pretty much work maybe 2 to 3 hours a day. I don't even know if I'd say that much. I guess with prep and everything, it's about 2 to 3 hours a day extra to do my Outschool journey. So once I started in March, figuring out what was working and what wasn't and what times I could do, I started to increase. As you can see here in April 2021, I made $555 for 99 learners and I only worked 29 hours. So as I started to learn and grow and figure out exactly what it is I should be doing, I started to increase, and now you can see my jump in pay. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about those strategies later. Right now, I want to talk to you about my pay, and that's May of 2021. Today is actually June 1st, so I did have my last payment put in there now, and last May I made $1,293.60. And look at this, 76 learners, and I only worked for 24 hours. I worked more hours here and taught more kids for less money. You might be thinking, what? How? That does not make sense, Michelle. What are you talking about? And I'm going to talk to you specifically about what I did and why these stats look the way that they do. Let's talk about May, because that's what's super important. How I made $1,200 in 1 month, and I'm still working a full-time job, guys. So you can do this. Like, this is something that is so feasible, and I've only worked 24 hours. So if you think about that, I worked one full day in the month of May, and I made $1,200, almost $1,300. Like, this pay probably should have been in here because I think this really was from a May day, because today's June 1st, and I just worked, but regardless. So let's say I roughly made like $1,300 in the month of May. So here I want to talk to you about my strategies and my tips and tricks. All right, so something I want you guys to keep in mind with Outschool is that you have full control. And so once you start getting on there and figuring out the exact hours you want to work and the exact learners you want to have and the amount that you want to earn for your classes, you will start figuring out what works for you, and that's how you will increase your income. So some of the things that I did to change what I was doing is I actually increased the prices of my class. I started out with $8 back in March, and so I just felt like that was a good sweet spot for me. 8's my lucky number. Outschool does recommend between 10 and 15, but at the time I was like, I'm going to start with 8 and see where it goes. And so that's probably one of the reasons why I made less money in that month, right? Because I was charging less. But I really wanted to get myself out there and get people to know who I am and what I'm all about, which is something Outschool does encourage. But I would recommend at this point, if I was gonna, have new teachers come on, go for that 10 because you're worth it. You are totally worth it. So yeah, go for the 10 right away. You do want to build rapport with parents and get yourself out there, but so that's why I would say start on the lower end. $10 is pretty good. Some teachers do put on classes there for like $5, $4 even. It's really totally up to you. But if you really want to go out there and make this like a full-time thing, go ahead and start, where you feel like you're most worthy in the beginning, because if you've been doing this for a lot of years, you have a lot to offer. So don't sell yourself short. So I will say that's what I did in the beginning, and that's fine. It's a learning process. But after, I think it was probably mid-April is when I decided that, I was, spending a little bit of time. I would say I probably prepped maybe 30 to 60 minutes to prep for classes so I can come down with my curriculum. I like to do Google Slides, PowerPoints, and I do my little like mock outline of like what I want to do. Then I do a Google Slides professional like slideshow, and then I add links and games and all that fun stuff. So it probably only takes me about an hour. But again, I'm a veteran teacher. I've been doing this for quite some time now. So putting it online, the pandemic has pretty much helped with that too. So for me, it doesn't take a long time to get some curriculum together. Depends on who you are as a person. So maybe about an hour of prep. And then once you prep that class and you've done it, you could just go on and teach it. So it's really like 1 hour of prep the whole time, and then every time that somebody signs up for that class, you just go and do it. So I feel like that's not really a factor anymore. But you do want to prep still maybe like 5 to 10 minutes before class and, look at your roster, make sure, check in with all these students. Have you had them before? Are they new to Outschool? Are they new to you? What is their age? What are they interested in? In the Outschool classroom, you can prompt the kids that when they do sign up that they can introduce themselves, or you can ask them a specific question. You can kind of get the conversation going before class begins. And this just helps you build rapport with them so that when you do get in the classroom, you can say, oh, hi, Joey, how are you? I saw that you love Roblox. That is so cool. What's your favorite game? And now I'm building rapport. And this is how you get the kids into the class. Not everybody signs in at once, so you kind of want to have those conversations as kids are coming in. And it just helps you as the teacher, start that class and get everybody going. And you're looking professional because you're introducing yourself to the students and they're meeting you. You may have kiddos that you've already had before, so you can be like, oh my gosh, hey Charlie, oh my gosh, you got a haircut, that's so awesome, looks great. Keep it moving, but recognize that you've had these kids before and that you're noticing things about them. They are your students, and the more the kids re-enroll with you, you get to know them a little bit more, and it's really cool because you get to know their life and you want to have that relationship building. The more re-enrollments you get, the better off you are, honestly, but that's like a whole other video. So some more strategies. So I did raise my prices, and I did put more classes on my Outschool classroom to offer to students. Once I realized what my niche was, I really started going forward and making more classes. So right now I think I am offering about 13 classes. Let's check. My classes right here. Let's see. Okay, so I'm offering 14 available classes right now. My re-enrollment rate is 8%. My average star rate is 4.97/5 out of 5, sorry. And then I've taught 231 learners and I have 250 followers. So I have 14 classes available for kids to sign up for. Now that doesn't mean I offer all 14 classes every day, obviously. I offer a couple during the week. So some in the morning, some in the night. So when you're offering classes, this is another strategy I came up with. You're never really going to know exactly what people want. So I always say the first person you have to think about is yourself. When can you teach? When are you fully available and ready to go? And then you can start narrowing down when it works for you. So
For me, I have 3 young kids, and so one of the times that I like to work is at night because they're all in bed and I don't have to worry about it. So I have little ones. So my littlest one goes to bed around 7, and then my girls go to bed around like 8. So I start teaching around 8:30 because everyone's settled and in their bed. And what I'm doing is I'm reaching the audience that is in a totally different time zone than I am, because if I'm teaching at 8:30 at night, my Eastern time zone in America, well, it might be 8:30 a.m. in another country that I'm serving. So for them, it's a great time. And for me, it's a great time. So just be mindful of that. I know that this time works for me, and I know that there are other students out there that it works for them. There's also Pacific Standard Time learners in America that it's 3 hours ahead for them. So it's like 5:30 for them. So if it's 5:30 for them, 8:30 for me, it works, right? So you just have to think about who your students are, where they're living, and what works for you. Now, with that being said, I would always try to offer a nighttime class and either an afternoon or a morning. You want to have like 2 different times during the day. It doesn't mean it has to be the same day, but say you wanted to teach sight words, okay? You would want to have maybe even 3. You'd have a morning, afternoon, and night. Now, maybe you don't want to have them all 3 in one day, so you could do like a morning on Monday, an afternoon on Tuesday, and on Wednesday, it's going to be a nighttime class. So you can scatter them throughout. It's whatever you think is going to work for you to start. Once you start getting that schedule built, then you'll start seeing the enrollments come in, and you'll start to know, hey, you know what? I've opened a class on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock for the last 3 weeks, and no one has signed up. Well, that just might not be a good time slot for that. But give it the 3 weeks. Give it some time for people to see it there. And especially if you're getting enrollments in other areas, then maybe, if you're getting enrollments every Monday at 9 a.m. and you're starting to get like 3, 4, 5 kids, whatever your amount is for your class, you might say, hey, Monday mornings are really great. This is working out well. Maybe I'm also going to do a Thursday morning too and see how that goes. So it's a lot of trial and error. You have to throw some stuff out there, see what sticks, see who people are coming into, and then start modifying your schedule as needed. But don't set up a time that you're not going to be available for or that you're going to stress over. Only make times available that are good for you. But I do recommend trying to have like a morning and afternoon, or like an afternoon and a night, or 2 different time frames. Outschool does recommend that because it gives parents the option of saying, well, my kiddo is in school still, so they can't take their class, but I really want to take that class. Well, if you're making, an 8 p.m. Eastern Standard class and it's 3 hours earlier for them, like it might work, right? It's after school for them now. So just be mindful of that. So that's another strategy I used, is I kind of threw out things that worked for me, and then I keep track of the data, what's working and what's not. Same for age range. So sometimes I will make a class for a certain age range, and then I have learned that it might not just be good for this age range. Like I like to do 6 to 11, but then I learned, hey, wait, maybe 10 to 14 is also going to work. So I take everything in my class, I copy it all, and then I make another class. You have to do this way. You have to copy and paste everything and make an entire new class just to change the age range and offer it for another age range. When I did this, I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think about this before? So that's why I'm telling you. So just because you make a class for one age range, if it can be like mixed over to another age range, make it for the other age range, because maybe 6 to 11 is not working, but you're going to get a bunch of 10 to 14 year olds. You just never know. And then maybe in the middle, right? You want to mix that up. So I play around with the age range and the time, because you'll start to find what is really working and what's not. And then once you start having these classes going, you'll find probably in most cases a smaller niche, right? You might find like, hey, there's only like 6 to 10 year olds in this class. So now you know, hey, this is a really great class for 6 to 10 year olds. I wouldn't necessarily change the age range because it's nice to have a broader age range unless you want to, but it starts to let you know, hey, if you only start with the 6 to 11 class, are your kids older that are enrolling or younger? Because you might change it to, 4 to 8 instead of 6 to 11. You know what I mean? You can maybe make it lower. If you're getting a bunch of 6-year-olds, there's a good chance you might have some 5 and 4-year-olds that also want to sign up for this class, but you're not offering it, so they don't. So lots of different factors that you can change and keep in mind. Are you a current teacher for Outschool? Let me know down in the comments below, how long have you been teaching online? And if you're not on Outschool, but you're teaching for another online program, I'd love to see what you're teaching for down in the comments below. I really hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please let me know by giving this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you can know anytime I put out a new video. I'd love to see you on here. Thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one.